Hey, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and we are going to speed date my TBR today. I have seen Jaime do this and I just thought it was so fun. This whole shelf behind me, this one plus the bottom shelf that you can't see, this is my whole TBR, and you can imagine that when I come to pick a book to read, I literally don't know where to start, like 90% of the time. It's a really hard problem to have when you've got so many books. This is quite obviously a huge me problem, and I thought that speed dating my TBR would make this super fun and maybe potentially do what Jamie's done and read her highest rated speed dated books. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's just jump right in. I'm so excited. The first book that I'm going to pick up is actually the book that I've bought most recently, and that is Collide by Balcabra. I don't know anything about this book, to be honest. I know that Belle rated it maybe like somewhere between a 4 and a 5 star and that she really enjoyed it, so I do have some high hopes for this. And I picked it up because I'm not a huge hockey romance person, but I have recently bought a few sports romances, so wanted to get into the good stuff. So Collide by Balcabra, let's see what this has for us. We have a playlist, to be honest. That serves as a prologue for me. I don't need anything else. Thank you very much. To the girls who love hockey, especially when it's written in ink. That's hilarious. We have one, Summer. Summer is the name of our FMC, so that's obviously the perspective that we are in currently. She's holding a gun to my head. What a first sentence. Well, figuratively at least. The gun in question, hockey. The woman holding it, Dr. Laura Langston, PhD. Hockey, I repeat? You want me to do my grad school application on hockey? Langston has been my grad school advisor for the past year, but I've been working under her wing since I started at Dalton University. She's everything I want to be, and I've obsessed over every academic paper she's written. She's kind of my celebrity crush in the nerdiest way possible. With her PhD in sports psychology, countless papers published, and experience with Olympians and athletes around the world, she's inspirational until you get to know her. When they said don't meet your heroes, they were talking about Laura Langston. She's the human equivalent of an angry swarm of wasps. Okay, I'm not going to read on because it sounds like we are in this interesting conversation between Summer, our FMC, and her PhD grad school professor. I don't expect for us to dive straight in with both of our two main characters within the first few sentences. I guess this gives us a small insight into how we're going to get our main characters together. So it sounds like Summer is going to be writing about hockey, and it looks like our MMC is the hockey player, and that's how their paths might cross. I don't know if that's the most gripping premise, but also I'm a sucker for academia and I like anything set in like an academic setting, so that is something that's fun to me. But having like a bit of a rocky relationship and sort of encounter with her grad professor, that isn't something that I enjoy. I don't like it when professors are nasty to students, and I think I'm probably a little bit not sensitive to that, but just like that's actually not something that I want to be seeing in my books. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. The thing is, I will read that anyway, and I'm sure that there's so many good things to know about that book and things that I will love, but just not set up in the most intriguing way. Other than that first sentence, if we were basing it on first sentences, that probably would have got like an 8 out of 10. Anyway, let's move on. While we're doing hockey romance, the next book, probably like one of the highest books on my agenda right now, is Unsteady by Peyton Corinne, because I believe I've seen that Brie loves these two books. I can't remember her ratings or whether she's like obsessed with them or not, but I've definitely seen her speak about these, and one of them in particular, I know she was speaking about really enjoying the mental health representation, and that's something that I also love in books. So that's pretty much all I know about this. Let's have a little look. Oh, we have another playlist, and this one is huge. Jeez, that's so long. What do we have on here? Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, the 1975. Law. Jackie and Wilson, Hosier. I love that song. Okay, we're starting here with the prologue, which was 3 months ago, and we're in Reese's perspective. Reese spelled like Reese or rice. Rice and Reese and. Who knows? Not me. Okay. I can't breathe. The ice cold seeps in through my jersey. I can feel it on my stomach. Fuck, I'm on my stomach on the fucking ice. Did I pass out? Son, you're doing fine. Can you lift your head for me? Everything is black. I shut my eyes and open them again. Nothing. I keep blinking. At least I think I am. Fuck. How long was I out? Kotiski, I need you to breathe, another voice says before there's a hand gripping my arm. Don't move him, Reiner. Not yet. A scrape of a blade against ice. Then my best friend Bennett's voice. What's wrong? What's happened? I want to call for him. I try desperately to push his name through my mouth, but it feels like my lips have been fused together. Back up, everyone! Back up! I can't see. I manage to wrangle out, I can't see. The second one comes out like a choked sob. Calm down, Ben offers, his voice soft, soothing the fear and adrenaline coursing through me. Take it easy, Reese, just breathe. Where's my dad? I can't see anything. My voice is like this foreign thing echoing in a cavern. Am I speaking or is it in my head, and why can't I see? Everything starts to muddle together again and the pain throbs in my head even harder. I want to open my eyes. I want to push my tongue against my teeth to check that they're all there and swear I'll wear a mouthguard next time. I want to go back and pay attention, keep my fucking head up against that hit. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. The voices around me start to muddle to nothing as I slump into the thick darkness entrapping me. Ooh, that's quite a grave, tragic first chapter / prologue. We obviously have something quite dangerous or potentially like medically serious happening here. It could be nothing, but to start the book out with that, I'm going to guess that that is quite a serious thing that's happening to our main character. And the first thing that you read on the blurb is Reese is desperate to feel anything. Sadie wants to stop feeling so much. I'm not going to read anything else. And I think based on that, I am definitely intrigued by this premise of how is this going to affect our MMC? And the likelihood is that our FMC is going to help him. And I like that. I'm going to give this a 6.5. I really enjoy actually that we've gotten to know this tragic event and that we're not just told about it later in the book, you know, when we're getting to know our MMC. Like, we were there, we've read what happened, we've seen the tragedy. I like that a lot. 6.5, I'm happy with that, and I'll be picking this up as soon as possible, to be honest. I might even read it this week. Let us move away from the hockey romance, shall we? Let's have a look. How about some general fiction? So, The Wedding People. I believe that I know quite a lot about this, but all we're doing here is rating its first few sentences, few paragraphs. So let's jump in. My understanding of the book is that we have a woman who, trigger warning, huge trigger warning here, I believe she's planning to commit suicide. So she goes to this venue. Turns out there is a wedding happening at that place, and she meets the bride, and the bride is like, absolutely not, you're not doing that. So expecting this to hit hard and hit quite heavy. It looks like we're written in third person. Let's go. The hotel looks exactly as Phoebe hoped. It sits on the edge of the cliff like an old stately dog, patiently waiting for her arrival. She can't see the ocean behind it, but she knows it's there, the same way she could pull into her driveway and feel her husband in his office typing his manuscript. Love was an invisible wire connecting them always. Phoebe steps out of the cab. A man in burgundy approaches with such seriousness the moment feels as if it has been choreographed long ago. It makes her certain that what she's doing is right. Good evening, the man says. Welcome to the Cornwall Inn. May I take your luggage? I don't have any luggage, Phoebe says. When she left St. Louis, it felt important to leave everything behind. The husband, the house, the luggage. It was time to move on, which she knew because that was what they had all agreed to last year, the end of the divorce hearing. Phoebe was so stunned by the finality of their conversation, by the way her husband said, "Okay, take care now," like he was the mailman wishing her well. She could not bring herself to do a single thing after except climb in bed and drink gin and tonics and listen to the sound of the refrigerator making ice. Not that there was anywhere to go. This was mid-lockdown when she only left the house for gin and toilet paper and taught her virtual classes in the same black blouse every day, because what else were people supposed to wear? By the time lockdown was over, she couldn't remember. Okay. Wow. I think that is extremely tonal. Like, I am getting the tone and the vibes already. So we obviously have our female main character, Phoebe. She's arrived. She's happy with where she's chosen, and she's obviously just gone through a divorce. She's also recently experienced lockdown and has probably had some of that loneliness that a lot of us felt during that time. She's had that really impact her along with her divorce, and that leads us to where we are. We're in Cornwall. God. Oh God, I feel like this is going to absolutely break my heart. Based on that, Like, I feel the instant heaviness of it, but is that because I know what the book's about? I think I would say, just based on that, in terms of the writing style and the vibe and the tone that it gave me straight away, I think I'm going to give it an 8, because it all felt very suited to what I know about the book so far, and it's definitely made me want to read on. So yeah, we're going to settle with an 8 out of 10. I can't wait to read this. I have a friend actually that's read it recently and she absolutely loved it, said it changed her life and broke her heart, and I love books that do that. Moving on, we have The Goldens by Laura Wilson, and I picked this up from Waterstones when it was Book of the Month last month, and I was just persuaded by literal everyone in the vicinity when I was at the till was telling me that I should read this because it was so good. And I don't know a lot about it, I really don't, but it sounds toxic. Based on what I read in the blurb, it sounds extremely toxic. So let's see if you and I together can try to figure out what's going on here. After the dedication, there is just a blank page that says, "Hell is a teenage girl. Jennifer's Body, 2009. You're probably right. Okay, the prologue. I always think of her during summer storms. The dark, sultry heat, the violet skies and petrichor in the air. All of it transports me back to that July morning. The bonfire was still smouldering on the lawn, a stark pile of blackened logs and ash reminiscent of a funeral pyre. Pyre? I don't know what that word is. When I followed Clara out of the orangery. The air was smoky, full of the fragrance of dying, rotting things, and thunder rumbled in the distance. I was still wearing the stained white satin dress I'd worn the night before, and I was barefoot. The morning dew chilled my toes, and wet grass brushed against my calves as we walked across the lawn towards the woodland at the end of the garden. Neither of us spoke. The ground gradually sloped downhill, the trees growing denser the closer we got to the river, to the temple. It was there that Clara led me, strands of her blonde hair snagging on the branches as we passed, sticks snapping underfoot. I've always known that friendship is a powerful force in young women. In the muddy, tumultuous waters between adolescence and adulthood, those imperfect years of not quite independence, we embrace friendship with our whole hearts, whether that's for better or for worse. Any loose bonds without passion, those with old classmates just barely held together with cancelled breakfast dates and belated happy birthday texts, fade quickly, replaced by new friendships that are intense, beautiful, all-consuming. Friendships in this strange, in-between age are more blood-packed than pinky promise, living the very best moments of your lives together alongside the very worst. You hold hands and make drunken, fervent vows in the early hours. You would die for each other. Kill for each other. In my experience, by the age of 18, every girl knows another girl that she would follow to the very ends of the earth. For me, that girl was Clara Holland. It started to rain, warm droplets running down my face, my arms, my back. When we reached the overhang at the water's edge, in the shadow of the crumbling temple, Clara stopped. Silently, she looked down into the rushing torrent, the shallows choked with reeds and vegetation. She tilted her head, indicating something that I should see. I followed her gaze, and there was a body in the water. I feel like that is, yeah. I think if you've ever been a teenage girl, reading that prologue is like, oh yeah, this is gonna go hard. This is probably gonna frighten me and scare me and take me back to the depths of friendship when you're young and you trust people too much. Just me? Okay. Wow. That's a 9 out of 10. I think we know we're set up for something here. Clara seems like a bad girl. Maybe not someone that I want to be friends with. Chloe is our FMC. And oh boy, Chloe. I feel like you've gone down the wrong path, girl. I'm so excited to read this based on just that. I haven't even read the blurb properly and I don't want to. But also, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it just stunning? Yeah, there's some alternative covers for this as well. I've seen a cover that looks exactly like this, which is the first page under here. This little cut off. How do we feel about this, by the way? Like this just short front page cover. I'm not sure. Anyway, 9 out of 10. Yes. Okay, fine. I'll do one more romance. One more sports romance, shall we say. I recently bought Mile High and I really want to get into this series. I don't know why I'm not doing it. I've been on such a romance high, but I've been focusing on summer romance, so haven't been rushing to pick this up because the covers don't really give summer. Anyway, we're gonna read the first few pages of this. Let's do that. So I know that our FMC is a flight attendant and that is about it. Another playlist. I'm loving all of these playlists. Let's see what we have. Love Lies by Khalida Namani. Feels by Kalani. Yes. Number 1, Xander's. This is, we're jumping straight in. I love road games. I hate road games. Madison pulls his suitcase out of the back of my Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, my newest purchase, before shrugging on his suit jacket. Rich guy. You hate them for the exact reason why I love them so much. I lock my car, throw my keys in my bag, and take a deep breath as Chicago's crisp fall air fills my lungs. I love hockey season, and this week is the start of hockey season on the road. Why? Because you have girls lined up waiting to see you in every city we visit, whereas the only woman I want to see is my wife, who is here in Chicago with my daughter and newborn son. Exactly. I pat Madison on the shoulder as we enter the private airport security entrance here at O'Hare International. We show our IDs to the security before being let out onto the tarmac. Did we get a new plane? I stop in my tracks, cocking my head at the new bird with our team logo on the tail. Seems like it, Madison absent-mindedly adds, looking down at his phone. How's Logan doing? I ask in reference to his wife, whom I know he's texting right now. He's obsessed with her, he's never not texting her. Madison's voice drips with pride. MJ is only a week old and she's got his schedule down. Okay, that's the first page. And yeah, I didn't really get much there, did I? These romances, they kind of require you to go a little bit deeper in order to get any sort of substance. That's the vibe I'm getting right now. I guess this is also getting a 5. It's getting a 5 out of 10. Yeah, just not like screaming at me to pick them up, but I don't know what is. What is going to scream at me? We need to find something better than this, surely. I think it's worth saying as well, I have heard that Mile High isn't the best in the series, but I refuse to skip it. I'm not doing that. If I'm going to read the series, I'm going to read the whole series, even if it means that the first one's a 3-star and the rest are 5s. Don't care. I did it with Akatar. I can do it with those. And let's have a little look at some fantasy. So one that I bought recently is Throne of the Fallen. And who is this by? Kerry Maniscalco. Throne of the Fallen. Deception is a wicked game. And this looks like a throne, which makes total sense. Love that. We also have a key. We have some wolves. We have some flowers. She didn't want the prince, she wanted the demon. Ooh. Okay then, let's have a look. I love, what's it called? A dedication. For those who can't help falling for the villain and love a sinfully wicked fairy tale, this one's for you. Ooh, we have a map. She's dark. This is the first page. It looks kind of like a prologue. Do you know when they're like a poem or like just a little snippet, or as if like they're written from like the outsider's perspective? That's what this looks like. This says, in a small city called Waverley Green, which is somewhat similar to Regency London but not quite, a few mortals have seen strange occurrences that cannot be explained. Some with secrets of their own, like Miss Camilla Antonius, have heard whispers of a shadowy nether realm full of vice, where 7 demon princes rule over 7 deadly courts full of sin. Magic isn't immediately laughed off in Waverley Green, though it's never openly spoken about either. Unless, of course, one ventures into the illegal dark market, where it's said that the stolen art and artefacts are imbued with mystical powers and their dealers might not actually be human. Unbeknownst to Camilla or anyone in the Green, a curse in that devious realm recently broke, setting one sinfully handsome prince free. Unlike in a fairy tale, the prince who's now coming for Camilla isn't at all charming. But like all storybook villains, if Camilla isn't careful, this dark prince might just end up capturing her heart, unless she succeeds in the impossible and steals his wicked one first. Ooh. I think that might be the blurb, because we then move on to a prologue. Oh. I'm not sure what's happening. This says prologue. House envy several decades before. Before what? Where are we? I'm intrigued. This says, God-stamped fey bastard. Okay then. The Prince of Envy stared at the emerald feather that had just fallen from the unfolded parchment in his hand, heart thundering from the taunt. The area between his shoulders suddenly burned, the need to summon his wings almost painful. That prick certainly knew where to hit Envy the hardest. The spell tattooed across the feather glowed in invitation. Be ready, L. I think I've read enough. That is interesting. So it's giving fairy tale. I'm not sure if that was our MMC, but someone's been riled up. That's giving sort of like comedic vibes, but also like we're going to evidently fall into something where our female main character probably shouldn't fall for the demon, but absolutely will, and that sounds fun. Okay, I really like this. I think I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10. Yeah. 8 out of 10. Throne of the Fallen. I need to remember that. Okay, what are we feeling? What are we thinking? I'm thinking maybe a fantasy. And look, I'm just a girl and this is stunning. This is beautiful. We have Heavenly Bodies. Who is this by? Imani Iru, I believe. Okay, so just opening this up, we have a map. Love a map. I just love this cover. Sorry, I've just shown you it, but how freaking beautiful. I don't know much about this, but we have some sort of zodiac energy on the front of this cover here. And Heavenly Bodies kind of sounds a little bit spooky, maybe gothic, not sure, but definitely some sort of magic, I am going to guess. Let's read the first page together. Chapter 1. Alara Bellavia had been able to walk through dreams for as long as she could remember. Some were Stygian, black and jagged nightmares. Others were sherbet-painted and cloud-filled, the daydreams of the innocent. Then came the brown, flat dreams of the day-to-day and the incense-perfumed, prophetic dreams, those that the seers throughout Celestia dreamed. God, that was hard to read, I do apologise. Big words, not me. She had fallen into the dreamscape of a Helion. She knew that much, yet as she crept around the red sand dunes of his dreams, something struck her as familiar about them. Had she walked here before? The colours were vivid and bright, the air hot and dry, so unlike the cool and dark dreams she was familiar with. She saw the back of a male figure, strong and lithe, as he wielded a golden sword, battling against something. But as she crept closer, she saw shadows surrounding him, attacking him, the figure gasping for help as they slowly began to suffocate him. She woke with a start, her surroundings filtering through the remnants of her dreams. A panic blink showed her only darkness, a coarse fabric itched to her cheek, a sack by the feel of it. Ooh. She had been running down the cobbles of the Dreamers' Quarter, dress damp with blood, and then she racked her brain. There'd been the scent of red poppies pressed to her nose, arms around her waist, and nothing. She swallowed, raising her rope-tied wrist to try and remove the sack, but a sharp yank on them stopped her. She hissed, lowering them, and forced herself to sit up as much as she could. She was moving, the clop-clop of hooves and hard wooden slats digging into her back, suggesting that she was in a wagon. "If it's money you want, I can give you money," she said, blinking away the fog. There was a faint laugh, and a man with a slightly lilting accent spoke. "We have enough of that." Interesting. We have a dream walker. That's how I would describe what that is. She can essentially go into people's dreams and see what they dream. And she's gone into a dream that she feels really familiar with, in a setting that feels like something she may have seen before or somewhere she may have been before. That is intriguing in itself. Why does she recognise it? What is this place? The things that were happening to the man with the smoke and all of that weird stuff that was battling with him. What was that? Does she know this man? I don't know. Yeah, it's obviously invoked questions. That's what I'm getting here. I'm also intrigued because she's practically shackled. She's tied up with rope and she's in the back of a wagon and they're transporting her somewhere. Essentially what we've done is we have gotten straight into the mind and the view of our female main character. We've learned what she can do and we know that she's probably not in a safe place and that she's either been captured, arrested, and she's been taken somewhere and she doesn't know where she's going. She also doesn't know who has her, which is also extremely interesting. I would give this probably like an 8 because we're straight away seeing something magical and weird and intriguing with her ability and also this mystery of where is she and where is she going. Yeah, I have so many questions. Yeah. Definitely. What did I say just then? Did I say an 8? Yeah, I think an 8.5. I'm going to give this an 8.5. Let's have a look at Once Upon a Broken Heart. Now, I haven't read the Caraval trilogy and I'm not going to read it before picking this up. I'm just not interested. I'm not. So we're going to be going straight into this and oh, the writing's extremely big. I'm loving that. I think that this has some sort of whimsical fairy tale vibe, but that's pretty much all I know about the book. Once Upon a Broken Heart, Stephanie Garber. Let's dive in. The dedication says, "For anyone who has ever made a bad decision because of a broken heart, welcome to the magnificent North. Stories be here." Stories be here. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, warnings and signs. This is the prologue, I believe. The bell hanging outside the curiosity shop knew the human was trouble from the way he moved through the door. Bells have excellent hearing, but this little chime didn't need any particular skill to catch the crude jangle of the gaudy pocket watch chain at this young man's hip, or the rough scrape of his boots as he attempted a swagger, but only succeeded in scuffing the floor with Maximilian's oddities, curiosities, and whimsies. This young man was going to ruin the girl that worked inside the shop. Ooh. The bell had tried to warn her a full 2 seconds before the boy opened the door. The bell rang its clapper. Unlike most humans, this shop girl had grown up around oddities, and the bell had long suspected she was a curiosity as well, though it couldn't figure out exactly what sort. The girl knew that many objects were more than they appeared, and that bells possessed a sixth sense that humans lacked. Unfortunately, this girl, who believed in hope and fairy tales and love at first sight, often misinterpreted the bell's chimes. Today the bell was fairly certain that she had heard its cautionary ring, but from the way her voice affected an excited edge as she spoke to the young man, it seemed as if the girl had taken the bell's early toll as a serendipitous sign instead of a warning. Okay. We then move on to part 1, the tale of Evangeline Fox. Is that the girl that we're talking about here? Our female main character, potentially, who is obsessed with love at first sight and fairy tales. That sounds funky. We may, by the sounds of it, be going into the mind of a girl who just has so much hope and feeling and romance in her heart and in her bones, which is just like me. That's definitely interesting, and I think setting up the idea of these magical bells, which it sounds like they're kind of enchanted in some way, and that they're described as having this sixth sense, like it even tried to send a warning to the girl. That sort of like magical snippet into what's included in this world is definitely interesting. What I'm getting from this is that we're going to get some definitely cutesy, whimsical vibes from our female main character if she's obsessed with love and romance and hope. So cute, I love that. Also, don't see that in a lot of fantasy books. I think I'm going to give this a 7 because I like the snippet into the magical potential of what this world is, and I also really enjoy the idea of this really sort of naive female main character that just loves love and hope, and it just sounds like she's wanting this guy that walks through the door, who the bell is telling us is a little bit scary and maybe someone to be warned against. Our FMC is like, no, give him to me. I will change him. I can fix him. No, really, I can. Is that what this is going to give? Yeah, I'm going to give this a 7, which is exciting because I really want to read this as well. I think we should probably pick a thriller, and one that I have seen Beth Morvant talk about recently is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier, and this is actually my sister's book, and I've just realised that it has a lovely little flop to it, which is one of my favourite things. Okay, my understanding of this book is that our female main character, her ex-boyfriend, is a serial killer. This all came to light, and now we're under the impression that he is coming back for her. So let's speed date this book. Let's see what's going on here. Part 1, Denial. Chapter 1. The trial has barely made a dent in the national news, which is good because it means less publicity, fewer reporters, but it's also bad because just how depraved do crimes have to be nowadays to garner national headlines? Facts. Pretty fucking bad, it seems. There's only a brief mention of Calvin James, aka the Sweet-Based Strangler, in the New York Times and on CNN, and his crimes aren't quite sensational enough to be featured in People magazine or be talked about on The View. But for Pacific Northwesters, people in Washington State, Idaho and Oregon, the trial of the Sweetheart-Based Strangler is a big deal. The disappearance of Angela Wong 14 years ago caused a noticeable ripple throughout the Seattle area, as Angela's father is a bigwig at Microsoft and a friend of Bill Gates. There were search parties, interviews, and monetary reward that increased with each passing day she didn't come home. The discovery of a 16-year-old remains all these years later, only half a mile away from her house, sent shockwaves through the community. The locals remember. Hashtag Justice for Angela was trending on Twitter this morning. It was the 9th or 10th most popular hashtag for only about 3 hours, but still. Okay. It sounds like whatever's happening here and the perspective that we're in, this story is really important to them because they're talking about its popularity across America by the sounds of things, and it sounds like it's actually not getting the attention that it maybe might deserve, or it's not widely spoken about as much as our narrator would hope it would be. Other than that, we obviously have a disappearance. Angela Wong, 14 years ago, and some of her remains have been found all of these years later, so I'm assuming that's fairly recently. So a 12-year gap between what happened and what we're now discovering, which is definitely interesting. I haven't actually read a serial killer thriller before, but I would really like to, and I'm actually itching for a thriller at the minute, and this is definitely intriguing. Knowing what Beth has said about the book and Jennifer Hillier as a writer, and also just reading that and understanding this about serial killers, I'm definitely intrigued. I wouldn't say that first page in itself is super like gripping, but it's definitely intriguing. So I'm also going to give this a 7 out of 10. Yeah. I have lots and lots and lots of thrillers down here that I haven't even thought about picking up. There is this one here. It is The Woman on the Ledge by Ruth Mancini, a tragic accident or a murder. So this book, I believe, is about someone who is potentially being set up for murder, and I think I bought this for like 50p in a charity shop, so literally no love lost here if it ends up being absolutely awful. But I really like a thriller every now and again, and a hardback as well for that cheap. I just couldn't say no. Shall we speed date this book? Monday the 19th of December. I wake with a start, my heart racing. There's a second or two of confusion as the morning light creeps through the slats in my blind. Then I hear it. Banging, male voices shouting. Open up, police! For a second or two, I am so heavy with sleep and fear that I can't move a muscle. My stomach tugs and my mind whirls. They've come for me. They finally come for me. Then it starts up again, the banging. It's loud. They're at the front door, I realise, with alarm. Someone's buzzed them in through the communal door. They can't have rung my buzzer. I'd have heard it. In a flat this small, it sounds as though they're already in my front room. George, my cat, springs off the bed and darts underneath the wicker chair. I push my covers back quickly. Coming! I shout, but my voice comes out high-pitched and thin. I hope they can hear me. I don't want them to start breaking down the door. I reach for my jeans and pull them on as quickly as I can, then grab a clean t-shirt from a pile of laundry that's sitting on top of the chair. I grapple with my nightdress, yanking it off, and pull the t-shirt over my head, catching my arm painfully on the bedroom door as I run down the hall. I'm coming, I call again, gripping my sore arm. I reach up and grab the key from the ledge above the door. My fingers are trembling as I slide back the security chain. Just a second, I plead. I just need to unlock it. I turn the key and push up the latch. They swarm in. Huge men in uniform and stab vests in my tiny hallway. 2, then 3, then 4 of them. They push their way in, invade my space as if I'm the dangerous criminal they think I am. A female cop is here now, thank God. Take Kinsella? Yes. She takes my forearm and lifts my hands, snaps a handcuff over my wrist. Take Kinsella, I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder, she says, then she rattles off quickly off pat. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Got that? I nod. They search the living room and bedroom then, while I stand in the kitchen with a female cop, the handcuffs clamped heavy and tight around my wrists. I run my tongue over my teeth and glance around the kitchen, my mind spinning with all the things I need to think of, but being shackled so close to a complete stranger, I can't get my thoughts straight. The roof of my mouth is bone dry. Oh! I don't know if you could tell by just the way I was reading that, but I felt like I was like just rolling straight in, as if this had anticipation and sort of like intrigue as to the quick sort of desire for our main character, or at least the person who narrated this first prologue. I just needed to know what was happening. Were they there for her? Yes, they were. She's just been arrested. Why has she been arrested? Why are they searching her place? Like, they've literally come to break down her door. They have lots of people in stab vests and they're searching her place. That is crazy. I would say that that's quite an opener. Yes, it is. I think I'm going to give this an 8.5 because I'm definitely intrigued. I want to know what she's done. I want to know who is this woman on the ledge and why are they arresting our girl? What's her name? And why do I think she's innocent? I have no idea who this girl is. Why do I think she's innocent? Tate, are you innocent? Are you a liar? Are you painting the wrong picture here and I'm going to be proven silly and stupid? 8.5. I'm really definitely intrigued by that. Well, I think I'm going to call it there. I think that we have read some things that seem super intriguing and some things that don't. And as I said, my plan is hopefully to do a couple of these videos, get an idea about how intrigued I am about certain books based on their first few paragraphs, and then we'll read those books that rate highly. I just want to say that my desire to doing this video is completely and utterly inspired and fueled by Jaime's video. I thought that it was such a brilliant idea, and I think it just feels like shopping your TBR. Like you end up picking up books that you bought at one point because you thought you might like them, but now you've not read the blurb in so long you don't even know why it's on your shelf, and this is exciting. This is so exciting. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.